Hello and welcome to this little Spalluccipedia video, which today I'm going to have a chat about the afterlife in the Spallucciverse. But first, before I have a quick ramble on for a few minutes, don't forget, hit that like button, and please, if you fancy, give me a nice subscribe. You know, you get to hear all sorts of things on this little channel. So yeah, the afterlife, quite a big topic really, especially for Sam. The first time we really come across it has to be in Casebook, probably right near the beginning, when we're talking about the case of the fastidious phantom. And he finds that there is this ghost haunting his halls of residence as a student. And it's sort of like reassuring for Sam, because at this point in his life, although he has a vocation and, you know, has a belief in God, he has suffered bereavement at a young age. You know, his father died when he was early 20s, as it were. And, you know, it's sort of like anybody, it leaves you questioning what's going to come next. You know, what's happened to my loved one? What's going to happen to me? So this notion that there is this ghost in his halls of residence doing all the cleaning, sort of like is a reassurance for Sam that there is something beyond the life that he is living now, and his father is going to go to somewhere else. In fact, Gerald tells him, he says, you know, there is this life after this mortal coil. I am proof of that. But it's not quite so straightforward. Gerald has decided not to move on. For whatever reason, Gerald decided, no, he's staying for a while. And it's not until he's had his little encounter with Sam Spallucci that, you know, he has the bright light and he moves on to this other world. Now, it's not until like a while later, when Sam's talking to Boombox Betty in Shadows of Lancaster, that he realises that the idea of the afterlife isn't necessarily a heaven as such. You know, you're not up there with your harp, in your white dress, doing whatever for eternity. It's more like this sort of like mass of beings who are all together. They're all happy, but they're there. And this is reaffirmed for him later on in Troubled Souls, in the case of Davin Dominion, where Sam actually goes to heaven and he sees that, you know, there are no people there. You've got angels wandering around doing their thing, but there's no people in heaven, because it is just one of the three realms. You've got the physical realm, you've got the heavenly realm, and then you've got beyond, which is like this hellish place. So when people die initially, they're not actually going upstairs, as it were. And so instead, they're going this other place. And this, I suppose, sits a bit odd for Sam. You know, he's been brought up and he has his own beliefs, so to speak, that, you know, when you die, you go to heaven, such and such. But it's not quite like that. And as it were, this is like another step in his journey. There's this notion that things aren't quite what, you know, you're brought up to believe. They're not quite how things are. And I really wanted to explore this in the Sam Spallucci books, because when I was younger, I read up a lot on the whole idea of theosophy, the idea of a monad, or monas I think it's called, the idea everything becomes one. You know, you have this sort of like, excuse the tractor, you have this sort of universal energy where we all come from and we all go back. You see it crop up in lots of like different spiritual and religious beliefs. So I wanted to explore that with Sam. So that's what I've started to do here. So in the Spallucciverse, as it were, what comes after this world is mysterious. We know that it's there, but we're not quite sure what it is. It's very different to what exists in all three realms, certainly. I mean, we know what the physical realm is. You see it every day in the stories. You know, it's basically like ours. We know what the heavenly realm is, angels, all that sort of business. And we know that beyond is somewhere not so nice, but you still have this concept of the individual, and the individual is there being suffered. You know, it can be sort of like an afterlife for angels, but not a pleasant place where it's not somewhere they really want to spend eternity, and that gets like covered in Fury of the Fallen. You know, because Asherah is convinced that she's going to end up there. Asmodeus doesn't want to go there. But you know, it's somewhere where they're still themselves. They're not this, I don't know, globulous mass of energy, which is more or less what the afterlife in the Spallucciverse is. Now, as to whether it's going to stay like that, that's another matter. Because in the when we have the Child of Light book, and we have the Abyss talking to Alec, she talks about everything's going to go. You know, there'll be no more heaven, there'll be no more earth, there'll be no more sea, i.e. herself. She's going to be destroyed. And everything will be born anew. So it's almost like the Book of Revelation sort of thing, where you know, everybody is then reunited on this final day. And that is the concept of the convergence. This opposite event of the divergence. The divergence is going to be brought about, you know, the rise of Canor, heaven and earth aren't going to unite. But when the convergence happens, heaven and earth will reunite. And all these people who are, I don't know, in holding, as it were, being very happy there, are all going to be reunited. So you have this paradisical event. Now, at the time of recording this, I've just finished writing Fury of the Fallen, I've just finished Child of Light, and I've just finished the 4th Bobby Normal book. And we can start to see hints of this being mentioned. Like I say, you've got the conversation between Alec and the Abyss. So it is something to watch for, because obviously the idea of paradise is a good thing. You know, hopefully it's something we all want, but somebody somewhere is going to decide they don't want that, and it's for you, the reader, out there to work out why. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Might be a few little teasers in there, keep you interested. Again, please, quick like, quick subscribe, stay safe, keep looking for what lurks in the shadows, and I'll see you again soon.